Hey, welcome back to the channel. Here we are on the 4th of July, 2026. And I thought I'd make a video for blueberries, since red, white, and blue is our nation's colors. What a perfect time, 4th of July and blueberries. I'm just going to take you through a little tour. As you can see, it's all netted in this year. There's no more birds taking the berries. We've had quite a good harvest already, and there's still tons more on there. So this is our first real good year that they've been protected completely from the birds. I used 7-foot high plastic deer netting, a heavy duty deer netting on the sides, and then I strung some thin wire across the top in a checkered pattern, and then I got a lightweight netting that was 100 by 40 feet wide, I believe it was, the roll, and I just cut that in half, and that covered the whole top, and I seamed it up in the middle. So I also planted a flower bed here in front of the blueberries to dress it up. Since I'm right by the roadside, I want it to look nice. I thought the fence looked a little, well, it didn't look bad, but it just needed something to make it look a little nicer. So I planted some daylilies and some dahlias and some iris along here. Now this is the first. There's also daffodils. You can see they're dead there now. The bulbs are alive, but the tops are no longer green. These daylilies, this is nice. I dug these out they were over near my pear trees, so they weren't doing well there, and they are doing real well here. There's some yellow leaves on there, but those are from transplant shock. They were pretty big when I transplanted them. And there's going to be more dahlias come this fall. This will be beautiful. I still need to get a little something in between here, something low to the ground and pretty. But you can see that whole row there. I'm not sure which one that is on the end there. That's the rest of the row is staggered. That's a Northland there, that taller one. Then next to it is a Chandler, and it goes like that all the way down the row. Northland, Chandler, all the way down through. And that one there, I don't know, that was an oddball. That might be a blue crop, or it might be a Jersey, something like that. Then this whole row here, except for on the end I got a sunshine blueberry, and I didn't realize they got berries that nice, but they're pretty good looking berries on there. That was a bush that was almost dead in one of my flower beds, and I dug it up and moved it over here, and now it's sending out all kinds of new growth. It loves this. The pH is right here. I worked hard to get the pH correct for blueberries. Well, anyhow, this whole row here, those are Jerseys. Those are Jerseys. And I planted them last year. I think they were in 3-gallon pots. When I bought them, they were pretty tall. They were probably about, I don't know, probably 4 foot tall in the pots. I trimmed them in half just about when I planted them, and they're sending out some new shoots now. That's a purple blueberry. That was almost dead in a flower bed too, and you can see there's all kinds of new growth on there now. It never looked better, so I'm glad I moved them. And then here, I think that's what is that? Oh, that's a Jersey. Yeah, that's a Jersey on the end. And then that little guy there, that's a Patriot. And then I think that's a blue crop, then a Patriot. And this big one here is a Jersey. And this one here is a Patriot, short and stubby. And that's a blue crop that is doing much better this year than before. And a Patriot and a Chandler on the end. So I'm gonna pick a few blueberries for myself today. I've been selling them. And I think it's time I keep some for myself. These Patriots are looking sweet. They are looking nice. So I would say they come off pretty easy, and look, the bottom's all nice and blue on there. There's no pale marks on the bottom. If you pick them and they still have a little bit of color on the bottom, they're not going to be as good as they are like this. Oh boy, they're good. I'm keeping these. I'm going to freeze them. I love my Patriots. They are the first to flower. A lot of people lose them if they got a cold snap. We had a severe frost that killed all the fruit on the cherry trees, the pear trees, the plum trees, most of our peaches and nectarines, definitely our apricots. But I thought for sure these Patriots were gonna go, and must have been the right time. Perfect timing, because we got a beautiful harvest off of this bush in particular. This is like the third time I'm picking on this particular bush, and you can see it is still loaded. And they're nice sized berries too. Now, granted, not everyone's giant, but it's a good sized berry. There's another Patriot here. And those jerseys, they're not as big as the Patriot berries, but some of this growth here is old and twiggy, and it needs to be removed. This one I got nice new canes like this one here. Look how tall this is. This is over 5.5 foot, so they're pushing 6 foot. Of course, they're up on a little mound there, so they're probably about 5.5 foot. They're nice. They're loaded. Here's another Patriot. These couple bushes weren't doing, they were all planted at the same time, but these couple here weren't doing very good for a couple years, and they really show it. But they are looking better this year. I've really tried to give them a little more attention and made sure they got fertilized well. I'm hoping they send up some new canes. The foliage looks better this year than it had in the past. But what happened was, before I had this fencing up, we had a lot of pressure from deer, so they can put you right out of business. And then if that wasn't bad enough, my chickens came in here and scratched around the roots, and it was very hard on them. So, lesson learned. Keep your chickens out of your blueberries, even if they don't have berries on them. These jerseys I planted last year are looking pretty nice. They are producing some nice blueberries here. Let me see what that's like. They're good. They're good. I expect this row here to be pretty nice by next year. These were twice this size when I bought them, but I wanted to cut them back a little when I planted them. And here's another sunshine that was in a flower bed that almost died on me. And this year it's got a lot of new leaves, new shoots coming up here. We don't want that beetle in there. And look at that. It even threw a few berries. And they're not really little. I mean, they're not tiny. They're not huge, but they're not tiny. So that was, and here's another purple blueberry that was in a flower bed and was almost dead. Brought it over here and put it in with the other blueberries in the row where the pH is right. and it's making a nice comeback. I thought this was gonna be, there was no leaves on it at all, so it's looking 100 times better than it was, sadly. But these little Chandlers, I don't know what the story is with them. I don't know why they are so slow to grow, so late. And then these were the same size when I bought them. The Northland and the Chandlers were in a tiny little 4-inch square pot, a little shempe plant, and within 2 years these are huge, not huge but growing, and then you know these have done very little. This is about what I had when I bought them, something about that size. And then you know this height is what I got, and this was the same, you know, but you can see it's 3 times higher. So I don't know what it is with Chandler. I have other ones. They're supposed to be the biggest blueberry. That's why I wanted a nice big berry. And I have yet to have a flower on any of them, or a berry. These look nice. I think this is either Blue Crop or Jersey. But they look nice. Oh, I tore the belly off of one. Gonna have to eat that one. They're good even though they're hot. Alright, so I guess I talked enough. I'm probably annoying the hell out of you with my nonsense. I just wanted to share some 4th of July blueberry video with you. Everybody have a happy 4th of July. Thanks for watching, and may your blueberries be blessing you as well. Warrior in the garden out here.